we're putting the spotlight into the crucial role of universal acceptance. We want to find out how crucial is this when it comes to internet technologies and also overcoming language barriers faced by global internet issues. Now, we're wondering why this conversation is important, because the internet is a universal place, and hence there's a need for universal language. The Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, in partnership with the Ghana Domain Name Registry, the Association of African Universities, and the E-Governance and Internet Governance Foundation for Africa, is spearheading an awareness campaign urging stakeholders to champion the integration of local language scripts into domain names. Now, let's delve deeper into this and find out what it seeks to achieve. I have three gentlemen in the studio with me. I'll let them introduce themselves for me because their name is quite a mouthful. I'll start with Raymond.
So I am Raymond Mamata, the founder and president of E-Governance and Internet Governance Foundation for Africa, simply called EGICFA. We are a civil society here in Ghana.
And then next to Raymond.
My name is Abdul Manaf Suleimana. I'm a UA project officer at the Association of African Universities.
And next to him.
I'm Nana Kofi Asafu Edu, Executive Director of the Ghana Domain Name Registry. We are mainly supposed to be the stewards of the .com.gh domain names in Ghana.
Interesting. Let's get a better understanding as to why there is a need for inclusiveness when it comes to the Ghanaian domain. I'll start with you because that's your field. This agenda you are pushing, what are you seeking to achieve?
Well, the biggest aim of this agenda is, as you said rightly, inclusiveness. The internet is growing fast in our current world, and everything that we need to do has to be geared toward including as many people as possible into internet technology. Now, the more people we're able to include from our local internet, the better our local internet will be. And when you look at the recent disruptions, one of the main issues was that there was a lot of dependency on foreign internet. But if we do a lot to strengthen our local internet, include more people, then the whole nation will benefit as a whole.
How can we even strengthen our local internet in the first place? That's your field of specialty. So enlighten us.
Well, strengthening our local internet means that we should get as much local content developed. Local content means content in our local languages, content related to our culture, content that Ghana can give to the world. And when we put that on the internet, it is essential that the websites that talk about these things have a .com.gh name at the end of it. So it's from Ghana to the world. Now, the connection with universal acceptance is that sometimes we need domain names that include Ghanaian alphabet letters, like let's say the O or the E, which cannot be read or processed by systems that were developed in English. So that's where universal acceptance comes in, where we need to do our part to ensure that our letters, just like Chinese letters or Greek letters or Amharic letters from Ethiopia, are processed on the internet, no matter where they are sent. And this is in connection to domain names and email addresses in particular.
How far have we come as a country in achieving this universal coverage?
We are at the beginning, and that's why we are doing this work to do our awareness creation. This year we are going beyond awareness creation and we are doing training, technical training, because you can create all the awareness you want, but if the technical capability and know-how is not there, then the awareness will fall to nothing. So this year there's a lot of training going to take place so that our technical people can build the necessary systems. And also we have to go to the next stage of collaborating with the rest of the world to tell them about our letters. Right now on Google, Android phones, you can get Akan keyboards. You can get keyboards using different letters. But the next thing is the processing of the domain names and email addresses that are typed in those, what we call them scripts. So if you have like sankofa.com, There's an O in the word Sankofa. But then, because it's not processed, you see that it will be spelled with an O. Sometimes you see people would write something, and then instead of using the they'll use a 3.
Use a 3, yeah.
Yes. And you know, the 3 can be processed because it has an ASCII, what we call ASCII representation. It has a representation on computer systems. But the reverse 3 doesn't. So work has to be done in that direction.
Well, interesting. Now, because for the average Ghanaian, myself, when I'm on my phone, I'm just looking for the easy way out. But civil society is also involved in this. What's your role in this, Raymond?
Okay, so at EGICFA, we are mainly into e-governance and internet governance, and UA, Universal Acceptance, is also part of internet governance. So our role here is we are part of the entity that represents the end users in ICANN. So we've taken this upon ourselves to be part of the team to organize this year's Universal Acceptance Day in order to bring more end users into the internet, especially in Ghana, as Nana Kofi already said, to be able to use our domains that bears our own local scripts and names on the internet. So this is our role. And to add to that, Universal Acceptance is a project that flows from the awareness creation to technical training, then to adoption. So Ghana, we are also in the limelight because we've done the awareness creation last year, and this year is for the technical training. So that is what really it is about. And we are happy to be leading this in aspect of the civil society.
All this sounds quite technical, especially for some of us in this field. What's been the response so far when you go to the field?
Okay, so the response we've gotten so far is quite very interesting, because after the UA that we organized last year, we've also done the Universal Acceptance awareness again during the IGF this year. And we've got a lot of people who showed interest, especially the youth. They are interested to know how they could engage in order to play their role in, for us to get the local script on the internet, as Nana Kofi said, with regards to domain names and the emails. And simply, domain names is the address that locates the domain you want to visit online. So for instance, if you want to visit Joy FM, so you enter the joy.com. So the joy.com is the location address to locate the Joy website. So we are talking about, that's what the domain names is about. So locating to locate a domain on a website. So that is basically part of it. So it is very important for us to be engaged in this.
Let me bring in Abdul Manaf. You speak for the wider audience, the universities. What's the response so far, especially with young people in tertiary institutions? Is this even something that they require as important?
So for AAU, being the voice of higher education in Africa, last year we launched the Universal Acceptance Project with ICANN. It's estimated that less than 2% of higher education institutions in Africa are UA reliant. Despite being linguistically diverse in Africa with so many languages, we are still not UA reliant. I'll give you an example, like Tonaton, right? Mm-hmm. No free promo. You know, Tonaton. Tonaton is not Tonaton. It should be Tonaton. But because you can't use the or, you can't use the or in the browser. If you should type T-O, it will give you a field. It will give you a field. But with UA, you can easily type T-O-N-A, T-O-N, and then get to the website you want to go. So for AAU, we ran the project last year, and we've had 2 technical trainings, one in Accra, the other in Namibia. And then we are looking, there's another aspect of this that we are doing. We are looking to introduce into the curricula. So we are having a workshop in Morocco, hopefully, in April, 26th April in Morocco, with vice deans and heads of computer science to have a discussion with them how we can introduce UA into the curricula. Many young people are in the universities. If they should know how to configure systems to be UA reliant, by the time they graduate into the workforce, they'll have the experience to make all systems that are being developed UA reliant. So that's where the AAU comes in, for the academia, for the students, and to make the internet more accessible to everyone in Africa.
And this is quite important. You mentioned the need to enroll it in our curricula. There's always been a gap between the market and what we are taught in school. So it's a bigger problem. Now, how are you engaging with stakeholders in Ghana, to be precise, to have this enrolled in our curriculum? Is it something that is coming up soon?
Yes. So we had a webinar 15 February, where we invited vice deans, vice chancellors into the webinar to have a preliminary discussion of how we can introduce UA into the curricula. This was not for only Ghana, but deans from other institutions in Africa. And it was well accepted. We sent forms for their feedback, and they seemed very interested in introducing it into their curricula as well.
Are there timelines to this?
Yes. For AAU, we envisage that in 2025, about 200 of our institutions will be UA reliant by 2025.
And this number, how many of this number is from Ghana?
So we have about 50 institutions from Ghana.
Okay. And currently you're engaging their vice chancellors?
Yes, for the curricular aspect of it.
Okay.
With the UA readiness aspect of it, we are engaging the ICT directors.
Okay.
Maybe Legon, the ICT director, UPS, the ICT director, KNUST, the ICT director. We've had workshops with them in Accra. And then last year in July, we had it in Namibia for the South African zone, where we trained the ICT directors on how to make their systems UA reliant, UA compliant. Yes.
How safe is our domain here in Ghana?
Our domain, the .gh domain is very safe. It's in good hands, and a lot of work is also being done to put it in a better shape. And luckily, we have a very good cybersecurity authority that we work with hand in hand to ensure that the domains are safe.
How do I identify a domain that could possibly lead to hackers getting access to my phone and a proper domain? That's your field of specialty. That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, for that, I think that you should always pay attention to the browser that you're using. Most modern browsers will give you a warning. And so that's what should tell you that this domain name probably can hack your phone. Also, in fact, what ties in with universal acceptance, you know that some domain names can use other letters, which will mimic like a domain that is known to you.
Okay.
So for example, if you have a domain name that has a letter O in it, a hacker could change the letter O to 0. Okay?
Interesting.
Yes, and then we'll create what we call a phishing site. Phishing site is that it will pretend to be the site that you are familiar with, and then create a form and collect your information.
Wow.
Yes. So what you have to do is to be very observant. When they give you a domain name or you get a link or whatever, you have to study the link closely. In fact, for me, if I see any link that is almost unreadable, I don't click it. I'll send the person back and say, what is in this link? Most of the time they'll say, oh, I don't know, I'm sorry, or something like that. So I think it comes down to being alert and knowing that every single letter is important in whatever domain name or website that you want to visit.
Interested. Let me come to civil society because you're working with different bodies to ensure this comes to light. Finances are quite important. So we'll come to finances across board. How much is this project costing you?
It's a collaborative effort between the three entities with the GNL, EGICFA, and the AAU. So we are putting a budget together as a team to organize it. So actually the main UA Day that we'll be celebrating in Ghana is on the 15th of May. Okay. So we had the press briefing yesterday to launch the event. So the main one will be on the 15th of May, and the cost is quite huge, but we are sharing the costs as three entities organizing this event. However, we call on any other entities that are interested to come in and partner, because universal acceptance is not for the government only, it is not for the end users only, it is not for the technical entities only, it's for everybody. Because if you are creating an email, for instance, and you cannot use the reverse of E in it, and that is what you wanted to use, I'm sure you will not be interested or you will not be happy.
Yeah.
So everybody has a role to play in achieving this.
Interesting. I like when we talk figures, but you're avoiding the numbers. Let's see if Abdul could help us. This is going to cost you a lot. How much are you injecting into it? So
with the UA project itself, the AAU and ICANN, we have a project where ICANN is funding it. So they're relying on us to use our institution. They are funding that aspect of it. But regarding the UA Day on the 15th of May, we are joining our heads together with funds to... It's going to be held at the AAU premises. and then we will cover some part of the budget, they will cover some part, the DDNR will cover some part. So yesterday, for instance, the DDNR oversaw the arrangements for the press briefing, and then I'm sure on 15th May, together we all come together and make it a successful event.
How do we ensure the interest of the youth in this whole agenda you are pushing? Because it's one thing to talk about inclusiveness. It's another thing for me to be interested in it at all. So how do you think we can do that?
For instance,
because you deal with the students.
Last year we had it. We invited about five each from computer programs, like the computer groups in the universities. So from UPSA, from Legon, from Wisconsin. We invited about 5 students from these institutions who are IT students. And then we gave them souvenirs, T-shirts. I'm wearing one of it right now. T-shirts, pens. When they go back, they'll speak to their colleagues and let them know what they learned at the awareness event. But on 15th May, it will be a technical training. So when they come, they'll get to have the hands-on skills to be able to make their systems reliant.
How do I become a part of this whole agenda you're pushing? I'll start with you, Nana.
If you or anyone wants to become a part, May 15th, keep that date in your mind. AAU East Legon, keep that location in your mind. When you come, you will be enlightened on more things, and you will see the relevance, and that would encourage you to join.
Do I have to pay a gate fee, Raymond?
No, there's no gate fee in this, and it is free for everyone to come and learn. But I want to add to the engagement aspect. UA has a lot of working groups. Okay. We have the communication working group, and I'm the vice chair of the communication working group. So participating in UA has members from every continent, everywhere in the world. So we have the body, that is the UASG, Universal Acceptance Steering Group, that is managing the whole UA project. Within ICANN, that is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Name and Numbers. So if you want to engage, you can join any of the working group depending on your skills. So you being a journalist, you could possibly join our working group, which is for the communication. We have others that are for the IDN, which is the International Domain Name. We have the email identification ones too, so you can also join depending on your skills. So in the global aspect, you can visit the uasg.tech website to see how your interests and where you can play a role. Everybody has a role to play. However, in celebrating the UA Day in Ghana, everybody could have a role to play. If you are interested, you can contact any of us in how you could get engaged.
Interesting. And for the student community?
You are invited to participate in this UA Day. For instance, Legon, UPSA, AAU is just like a stone throw away from there. So you're all welcome to participate on 15th of May, 2024. Yes.
What's your end goal and target?
So for this UA Day awareness and the technical training, we plan to give them technical skills on how to make systems UA compliant. But on the larger UA project, as I said, we are planning to make at least 200 AAU member institutions UA compliant. Okay. Then the second phase of the project is to ensure that universities will introduce UA into the curricula. Yes.
And Nana, what's our target? Do we have timelines to this target?
I wouldn't talk about timelines now. It's an ongoing work.
Okay.
But I think that once the universities are compliant, government entities will be compliant, business entities will be encouraged and guided to compliance, and eventually everyone or entity should be compliant, because UA without total compliance is not really UA. See, the word is universal. So universities are a good place to start, and then the work should go across.
Do you propose some sort of sanction when people fail to comply?
Not at all. I don't buy into proposing a sanction for compliance. I'd rather go for incentivization.
Okay.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think that's a better option? We are in Ghana.
Well, because incentivization makes the whole process more palatable. And I don't think it's a situation where sanctions are necessary at any stage at all. But I think that when people see the benefit for themselves, for their businesses, for their schools, for their institutions, it's very easy for them to actually join and engage.
I'll come around for your final words before we let you go. I'll start with Abdul Manaf.
So regarding that, I agree with Mr. Nana Kofi what he said. organizations are supposed to embrace it because it's in their interest to be UA compliant. I give an example with the Tona I usually do. If you operate in certain jurisdictions where language is a main issue there, you lose out on customers. If a customer wants to message you in Akan or Dagbani or any other language, the person may not be able to do so, and then you end up losing out on a customer.
Thank you so much. Raymond, your final words?
My final words is universal acceptance is very important because if you are not compliant, you'll be losing out on a lot. Because if somebody is sending you an email and has those scripts that your system cannot identify, your system will reject such emails. So it is very important for all of us to test our systems and ensure that we are universal acceptance compliant in order not to lose out in the world.
Nana, your final words?
I think that I echo what they've said. I think that all organizations, entities, should make sure that they comply with universal acceptance. And as a nation, we also have to make every effort to develop our local internet to put us in a good position.
Thank you so much, Manav, Raymond, and Nana for joining us here on The Pulse. Well...